What is going on, everyone? This is Ninjageek here, and today we're bringing you another episode of PTFO Fridays where we play the motherfucking objective every motherfucking Friday. And this week's episode is very special because it may not happen in another episode of PTFO Fridays. In this episode, we have a very special guest star, Ninja himself, who has this game, or who played this in this game. He's going to be joining us live right here on the show. This is spectacular because we never had anything do this like this before. So anyways, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you and all of you to Ninjageek. So, how you doing, Ninja? Oh, I'm pretty fine today. Well, you see, I enjoyed this gameplay really much. I got this gameplay at level 26, I believe. I ended up ranking up in here, so it's pretty early on, but I'm glad I could send in the gameplay so I could be featured here on the show. Well, that's great. The first question that I have for you, because of course we're going to ask him a bunch of questions because he's here, so normally, I would do this, but since we have the very own star himself who made this gameplay, or created, or got this gameplay, I should say, we're going to ask him a couple questions here so we can better understand his gameplay choices and his past history with the Call of Duty franchise. So, of course, first things first, with PTFO Fridays, we like to explain the class. So, what items were you using on this class? I can see the VMP here, but can you go a little bit more in depth as to what you were using? Well, you see, I was using the VMP here, and the VMP is probably one of my favorite submachine guns in the entire game. It struggles more at long range, as you can see there, but I ended up obviously putting on my own paint shop, and the paint shop doesn't matter, of course, but we got on quick draw on here. You could probably switch that out for long barrel. It's basically the same class that I had in my first episode, but you can switch out some concussions, of course, for playing Domination here in this game, so I like to use concussion grenades, and then of course you have on Flak Jacket and Tac Max, because those are the best Domination perks for dominate or any objective in general. And I don't know why I'm running the care package here, because it's not really, it gets some kill streaks out of it that are good, but I end up cutting out the gameplay here, as you can see, during some points, because I'm just sitting there waiting for my care package, which isn't fun to watch at all. So so that's basically the whole entire class, and the kill streaks I'm running are the Hellstorm missile, which isn't really that good, of course the UAV, and I probably wish I should have switched out the extra care package that I had for something else, but a lot of the streaks in this game aren't really that great, so, I use what I use, and out of the care package you get a lot of different score streaks, so that's basically the class. Alright, Ninja, well, that's a very interesting class setup indeed. Now, the next question that I have for you is, how did you manage to pull off this gameplay here with the teammates that you have and the enemies that you have? Because as you can see, it's kind of a closed game. Most Domination games, depending on who your teammates are, who your enemies are, they usually don't last long because the enemy team either crushes you or you crush the enemy team. But in this game here, you're going head-to-head. It seems very close. So can you explain how you were able to pull off this win for us here on PTFO Fridays, and explain maybe some strategies you were using to get this win, or maybe it's how the teammates were, because of course you don't know the teammates, but just explain a little bit on that. Well, the teammates, you're right, they are pretty good in this game, and the enemies are pretty good too. There's no way that we actually could have won this game without my teammates, and there's no way we could have lost this game without my teammates. Sometimes they would get ahead, sometimes we're ahead, as you can see right now, and then other times we are just completely behind, and it's just a giant mess. But as you can see in the end, when we get to the end part of the round, the second round I should say, we end up pulling off the win over a giant win versus the other team. But right now we're kind of going head to head, and I guess it's all luck, because the luck is really dependent on who you get matched up with. If you get matched up with garbage teammates, then it's just going to end up being complete garbage. But here I end up getting matched with a bunch of good teammates that actually want to capture the objective, which is the whole point of this, and that's why we end up pulling out the win, and the other team likes to do that too. I guess it was just the map strategy that we used, because Hunted was obviously in the Black Ops 3 beta, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people know how to run this map. And for here, my first time ever is trying to learn the map and see the new things that they added into it. And obviously it's the same layout as before, as we saw within the beta, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people knew what they were doing when it comes down to strategies for this map, and that's probably why we just ended up going to head-to-head, because in other maps it probably wouldn't have panned out that way. It probably would have went to either a forfeit or something stupid like that, but in here, obviously, people know this map, and this map is actually really well for objective game modes and a lot of other game modes as well, not just objective-based, but This game mode actually plays very, very well in this game with any really game mode that you play out there for it. So, yeah, that's basically it for that question. Very good. So, you said before that your favorite SMG was the VMP. Do you have a favorite other weapon within the entire game, or do you like the VMP the best, or, what's your situation with that? Like, is your VMP your most used weapon within Black Ops 3, or do you have another one that you like to use more? Well, yes, the VMP is my favorite SMG. I really like it. The fire rate is excellent. I don't think that the Vesper, that thing, I think that fires too fast in my own opinion, and I'm just not comfortable with it, so the VMP is my favorite. As far as assault rifles go, the Man-O-War is kind of inconsistent, so I probably don't usually like to run that a lot, but when you can hit your shots with it, it is a very good weapon, and I highly suggest running that one if you are wanting to run an assault rifle. The ICR isn't really floating my boat. It's got a lot of hit markers, especially if you put a silencer on it. You don't need a silencer anyways in objective game modes, so that's obviously you're not going to do that, but the ICR has very low damage in general anyway, so it's not that great of a gun in my own opinion. But then, you got the HVK. I think they buffed that from the beta, because in the beta, the HVK wasn't that great of a weapon, and it was just terrible. The damage sucked on it, as well as the Weevil. The Weevil wasn't that great in the beta, but of course, here in the full game of Black Ops 3, they ended up buffing those guns, so I'm pretty sure that some of those are useful. The Weevil, it works for me sometimes, but the HVK is probably one of the best assault rifles now in this game. Even with a silencer on it, you could probably throw a long barrel on there and go for the quick flank routes. So, yeah, that's probably it. And snipers, I completely suck with them, so don't ask me about the snipers in this game. But, yeah, so shotguns also, the Argus. I like the Argus. That's the highest one in there. So if you're trying to get up close and personal, the Argus is probably your best bet. The KRM gets a lot of hit markers. The Haymaker, I don't really like it. And the Brushy is just terrible. Don't use that one. So the Argus is probably my favorite shotgun, the VMP is probably my favorite SMG, and of assault rifles, it's probably a tie between the Man-O-War and the HVK, and there's probably other ones in there too as well that I'm forgetting. Well, that's a very nice answer. I too have to agree. The HVK has probably been one of the most buffed weapons since the beta, so I'm glad that we get to hear your thoughts on that, and of course on the Man-O-War, because the Man-O-War is just a great all-around assault rifle. Puts down a lot of heavy damage downstream, but it also has a lot of recoil, so you got to kind of learn to control that. So thank you for your answer on that one. Now the next one kind of takes us back a little bit in the Call of Duty history. What is your experience with the first Call of Duty that you played, and how have you managed to get better over the years of playing Call of Duty? Well, you see, what I did, I started Call of Duty, of course, back in Black Ops 1, for many that obviously may not know that, and Black Ops 1 is my ultimate favorite Call of Duty of all time, but what I used to do is, obviously, the only way you're going to get better at playing Call of Duty is playing the game. Yes, I completely agree with that. Playing the game is the best way to get better at a Call of Duty. So, playing the game is obviously the best way, but there's also other ways as well, and I used to watch YouTube. I still do watch YouTube, but back then, when I didn't actually produce content on YouTube, I used to watch YouTube a lot more than I do now. I used to watch a lot of more different people, that some of them may have quit Call of Duty as of right now, but I used to watch all of those people, and they helped me, well, all those people excluding T. Martin, because of course T. Martin, you can't understand a thing that he says in every sponsored video of his, because he always jumbles his words. He's like, what the fuck is going on, guys? Everyone take gamma lives by him, and it's just confusing to understand him, so I don't watch his videos, but every time I like to watch other people's videos and how to get better, and it just improves your game overall. And so yeah, whoa, Ninja, that's some very tough words there, tough word choices that you got going on there. Don't take it out on T. Martin that you just don't like him. We all do our own things here on YouTube, man. So just ease it down with those comments. But anyways, next question. And final question, what do you think is wrong with the game? And actually, what is your favorite map in this entire game? Well, you see, I'm not entirely sure what my favorite map is. Hunted, as you can see here, is a great map, but I'm not entirely sure on my favorite map in the entire game. And as far as everything's wrong with the game, I can't really say as of right now, because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm probably going to make a separate video coming soon about that. So stay tuned for that here on my own YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Ninjageek. Thank you for having me on. Is there any more questions? Now that should do it for now, but thank you for being the guest star for this week's episode, and thank you everyone for tuning in for this week's episode of PTFO Fridays. This is your host, Ninjageek, with our special guest, Ninjageek, who greatly provided the gameplay for us this week. I will see you on next week's episode of PTFO Fridays. I'm Ninjageek. I'm out. Peace.